First, I want to give praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Double honors to apostles and elders at GMS. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Right here we see 12 tribes of Israel: Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim, Manasseh, Simeon, Zebulun, Gad, Reuben, Asher, Issachar, and Naphtali. And right here on the side of it, you see what those tribes are today: the American blacks, West Indian blacks, Haitians, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Dominicans, Guatemala to Panama, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, Colombia to Uruguay, Mexicans, and Argentina or Chile. Now, these are Jacob's and his wife's kids. So, which will mean the blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Latinos, and Hispanics are the biblical Israelites of the Bible, which the Bible speaks of, the Jews. First, I want to get into the etymology of Latino. Now, when you search up Latino, you'll get, it pertains to Latium. Latium is a mountainous region in Italy where Rome is at, which means being Latino is basically saying you're property of the Roman Empire, which the Israelites were captive under. Same thing goes for Hispanic. Hispanic is Hispano, which means property of Spain. Spanish, Spaniards, same thing. And the Romans were the ones who conquered our ancestors, the sons of Israel. The sons of Leah: Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, which is the head tribe, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel: Joseph and Benjamin, and the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob, which were born to him in Padan Aram. There you have it right there. Those are the 12 sons, including Dan. And in this right here, Genesis 32 and 28, before we get there, we're going to read from the top. This is where Yahweh changes Jacob's name to Israel. For those confused, who's 12 tribes of Israel? It's Jacob. Let's see. This left Jacob all alone in the camp, and a man came and wrestled with him until the dawn began to break. When the man saw that he would not win the match, he touched Jacob's hip and wrenched it out of his socket. Then the man said, "Let me go, for the dawn is breaking." But Jacob said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." "What is your name?" the man asked. He replied, "Jacob." "Your name will no longer be Jacob," the man told him. From now on, you will be called Israel, because you have fought with Yahweh and with men and have won. So there you have it right there. Jacob's name is now Israel. Now, if you didn't know, for everybody, right? This goes for everybody. You are what your father is. Basically, the father carries the seed, and since he carries the seed, whatever ethnicity he is, race he is, you are going to be that exact one. This is not by maternal lineage, it's by your father's lineage, right? We're going to see this in Numbers 1:18. "And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward by their polls." Keep in mind, their pedigrees after their families by the house of their father. So yeah, this means whatever your father is, whether he's Asian, white, black, Mexican, etc., that is what you are. And for those who do not know what pedigrees mean, let's see it right here. I searched it up in advance. Genealogical record or list of ancestors. There you go. And now I want to get into some scripture which shows, the Israelites or the people of the Bible, being black, like showing some color, Let's see right here. Genesis 2:7. And the Lord Yahweh formed man of the dust. What color is dust, guys? What color is dust? Come on. Dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Now, let's go into this. Job 30:30. My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burned with heat. Let's see another one right here. Song of Solomon 1:5. I am black, but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Now, before we move into the next scripture, I noticed something interesting as I was researching, and what I found out was this right here. So first we're going to click into this verse, right? Notice the word Kedar, right? I'm going to click dictionaries. I'm going to scroll down until we see Easton's Bible Dictionary, right? I'm going to click Kedar. I'm going to click this right here. What is this? Dark-skinned, the second son of Ishmael. Dark-skinned. So keep that in mind, right? Kedar, whether it's spelled Kedar or Qadar, they both come back to black. So anyways, now we have this in mind. Let's move on to the next verse. Jeremiah 14:2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black onto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. Let's move on to Lamentations 4:8. Their visage meaning appearance, is blacker than a coal. Visage also means your face, blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It has become like a stick. Let's move on to Lamentations 5:10. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. Move on to Jeremiah 8:21. For the hurt of the daughter of the people am I hurt. I am black. Astonishment hath taken hold on me. Next, I want to get into race being shown in the Bible, because a lot of people always say, race isn't in the Bible, but that's not true. Go to right here, right? I'm gonna search up race of Israel. Now it shows us none in the King James Version. So let's click if I'm not mistaken, this should be called Berean Eastern. I'm not too sure about that. I'm gonna get back to you on that. So let's see right now before we even get into that. And I'm pretty sure the first word stood for Berean, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm gonna try to spell it. Berean Bible. Okay, there we go. Anyways, right? I'm gonna go down here. And we see right here. Joshua 11:21. And Joshua came at that time and utterly destroyed the Anakim out of the hill country, from Cherbaron, and from Debir, and from Anaboth, and from all the race of Israel. Move on to the next one. Exodus 1:9. And he said to his nation, behold, the race of the children of Israel. Next one. Exodus 5:14. And the accountants of the race of the children of Israel. Last verse, Isaiah 49:6. And he said to me, it is a great thing for thee to be called my servant, to establish the tribes of Jacob, and to recover the dispersion of Israel. Behold, I have given thee for the covenant of a race, for a light of the Gentiles, that thou shouldest be for salvation to the end of the earth. So everything so far, we see that the Israelites were black. But in case people still don't believe me, I'm going to show you some proof, right, of Tacitus, who's an historian who was in the time period of 70 AD, and he also wrote about it right here. So if this allows me to, we're gonna see where he compares the Jews. So it says, I'm gonna highlight it for you guys too. Many others think that they were an Egyptian stock, which are in the reign of Cepheus, and was forced to migrate by fear and hatred. So right here, he's saying that the Jews, aka Israelites, were believed to have been from Egyptian stock. And what color were the Egyptians? Not the fake ones that are in the land now. They are black. But obviously, this is not true, because according to Exodus and 11, I'm going to bring that up right now. According to Exodus and 11, Exodus 11 and 7, to be more exact. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord Yahweh does put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. So right there we see that the Egyptians and Israel are two different people. Two different people. So the fact that, the Jews, aka Israelites, are being compared to Egyptians, clearly not Egyptians, just shows that they were dark-skinned people. Now, we're going to go on to even more proof in case, y'all still need that. We're going to go on to, what is this called again? It's called On the Classification and Geographical Distribution of the Mammalia. So we're going to go to page 96. Right. And here we see, where is it at exactly? There it is. But there are some Jews still lingering in the valleys of the Jordan, having been oppressed by the successive conquerors of Syria for ages, a low race of people, and described by trustworthy travelers as being as black as any of the Ethiopian races. So you keep seeing that the Jews are being compared to Ethiopians, even though they're not, based off that scripture we just read. It means that they're dark skinned. There's really nothing else I can say to that, Now, we're going to go into even more proof. Nature Knows No Color Lines by J.A. Rogers. I have the book myself. You should get it. We're going to go to page 123. You should really check these out too. It shows. Not these right there. Not these. Look at these. Negroes in coats of arms of European cities, right? All keep saying, they're white. Look at these. But guess what? The heathen whitewash all these photos. Whitewash all these images. But as you can see, boom. What color is that man right there? On a coat of arms. Boom. Boom. Is that even the faces? Yeah, it is. Boom, right there. Boom, right there. Boom, right there. Boom, right there. Even all right here. So, when you hear people be like, well, black folk, or maybe some white people too, well, Israelite folk, really, based off what we're learning today, we're going to see. You see now that when they say that we was kings and all this other shit. Got the proof right there. We ruled and all that. It's gonna be for another video. I'm gonna get on that. But we're gonna see right then and there. 16, 121, and 123. It says right here, you can read the top part too. But we're gonna read right here where it says Waits or Waltz, whatever he says his name. Waits says an interesting gradation of all shades down to the black is exhibited by the Jews, especially dark were the Jews of Spain and Portugal. The Portuguese Jews were very dark. The Duchess de Abrantes, wife of Napoleon's ambassador to Portugal, said that the Jew, the Negro, and the Portuguese could be seen in a single person. So dark were the Jews, especially of Portugal and southern Spain, that many whites thought all Jews were black or dark. I have the book right here in case, some of you guys was confused about this part where it says, this belief, said Barbach, shows what an era most people are in, since he says the German Jews, as for example, those of Prague, are as white as most of their German countrymen. Many of the Jews who were banished from Portugal by John II, it says that Barbara believes that a lot of people are living in a lie. They don't know that not all of them are Negro, or not all of them believe that they're dark, because some of them are white as their German countrymen. Let's keep on reading, right? It says right here, settled in the West Indies, after they was banished. John Bigelow, who visited Jamaica in 1850, saw the descendants of these Jews, the descendants, right? It says they were Negroid. I don't know why it shows up N-O, because it literally says the same thing right here. The Eastern Jews who settled in Austria, Poland, and Russia were Negroid too. See, it says Negroid, but I don't know why it says no Groid, but it shows right here, it says Negroid too. Anyways, Count Adam Gorowski of Poland, who visited the United States in 1857, said the Jews of his country strongly resembled the American mulattoes. Numbers of Jews, he said, have the greatest resemblance to the American mulattoes. Sallow complexion, thick lips, crisp black hair of all the Jewish population scattered over the globe. 1/4 dwells in Poland. I am therefore well acquainted with their features, and my arrival in this country, I took every light-skinned mulatto for a Jew. We're gonna end it off right here. Considerable Negro strain was found too among the Polish Jews in London. So, going back to this page where he says most people are they don't realize what era they're in. So when it says that what an era most people are in, the German Jews are as white as most of the countrymen, it could mean that he was referring to how light colored they were. Black people, Israelite folk, becoming different shades of black. Or he could actually mean that like they're white, which I highly doubt, because this book is literally saying how black they are, and we just read that they come in different shades, light colored, mulatto. So this dude could be mistaken, or he could be referring to, well, modern day Jewish people, modern day small hats. So we're gonna leave it at that. But again, I'm gonna go into even more proof. So I'm gonna scroll down to 145. Because it shows, even in this text right here, which is called Natural History of Man by James Cowles Pritchard, that the Portugal Jews were black, dark-skinned people. skipped over it. There it is. It says right here, the Jews of Portugal are very dark. Jews, as it is well known, have been spread from early times through many countries in the eastern parts of Asia and China, Tartary, and the northern parts of India. There are many of them in the towns of Cushan and the interior of Malabar. So, there you have it again. We still around to this day. Still around to this day. Now, I want to show you a picture I have of compact dictionary version of who the different people are. 3 types of people that was born unto Noah after the flood. The Hamites, which is the modern day African, or, during that time African, or whatever you want to call it. It says right here, the youngest son of Noah, the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. So, as you see here, it's the African. As you see right here, this is the Jew, Israelite, Shem. He had Noah, in case you didn't know, after the flood, Noah had Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So here you see the curses that was put upon the Israelites for their disobedience against Yahweh himself. Now, you can pause the video and see all the verses and search up all the verses for yourself, but I'm going to choose 3 and go over them. So first, I'm going to go over Deuteronomy 28 and 54. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. Now, look around. Look on Instagram. You see everywhere, oh, he's a deadbeat dad. He's this and that. Like, black people this and that. All in the world that's happening as I speak right now. It's a father leaving his kids. Or the top part says, the man that is very tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother. That is about gang violence. You're walking down the street, you see these people, your own brothers, wearing ski masks on, looking at you all types of way and like fighting on the street. Your own people. If you want to see what group of people kill their own people the most, guaranteed, if it's not white people now, a lot of time it was black on black crime. Black on black crime. Black on black crime. You see it all the fucking time. Back to back to back. Alright? So basically that's the meaning of that verse. Well, of that curse, that was on us. Even till now. We're going to look at Deuteronomy 28 and 37. It reads, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall send thee. Now, we've been called all versions of the N-word. I don't even got to say it. You just think to yourself, right? I'm called Negro, I'm called colored, African American, Afro American, black, Hispanic, which I went over, wetbacks, what else? Jigaboo, like all these names. Even when you go back to number 8, lost the true knowledge of who they are and will be called many scornful nicknames other than Israel and Hebrew. Change the names of who we are. Taught in the schools saying that we're African American, when Africa and American is 2 different continents, right? And it's named after 2 white guys. Being called African American, guess what? It's an actual byword, which also adds on to my point that we're going to be called other nicknames, just how the curses said it we would. When you read the Bible, you'll find out that slavery, even number 1 right there, it says slavery and captivity. Well, we'll go over that right now. When you read the Bible, you'll find out that the slavery was a central theme in the Bible. Us Negroes, quote unquote Negroes, I keep on saying Negroes, but I actually mean blacks, Native Americans, Latinos, Hispanics, all the 12 tribes, right? So whenever I say Negro sometimes, unless I'm solely referring to Judah, which is the head tribe, which are the American blacks, then a lot of time I am talking about all the 12 tribes of Israel. Israelites were the same people that Yahweh sent Moses to go redeem under the hand of Pharaoh. It's a reoccurring thing with us. We came out of Egypt as slaves, came down to the land of Israel. The Syrians came and captured the land of Israel and took them and made them slaves. Now, for proof of this, we're going to go right here to 2 Kings 17:6. I'm going to read right here. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Hala and in Habar by the river of Gozan and in the cities of the Medes. Now, we get out of the land of Assyria, go back into the land of Israel. Then the Babylonians come, which are modern day Ethiopians and Cushites, into the land of Israel and made us slaves once again. So we was under captivity, under Babylonian captivity, and we're gonna go to 1 Chronicles 9:1. So all Israel were reckoned by genealogies, and behold, they were written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah who were carried away to Babylon for their transgressions. Right? So there you have it. We get out of Babylon activity just to fall in the Medo-Persian captivity. In Daniel 2:1. And in the 2nd year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams wherewith his spirit was troubled and his sleep brake from him. Now, let me brief you on this, right? The Median Empire started to fall due to the Persian Empire's rise, right? Cyrus the Persian challenged, Median authority, leading to the conflict that, led to the fall of the Median Empire. After defeating the Medos, Cyrus united with the Medos, allowing to conquer the Median nobles to retain their positions in the court, which helped them solidify and establish the Medo-Persian Empire, right? And then now we're going to read in Daniel 2:1 that he had dreams. And we could read the scriptures, but I'm going to show you a visual of what he dreamed about, right? Pistate, I'm a statue. Right, you see right here. The head of fine gold, right, was the Babylonians, and the breast and arms of silver was the Median Persians, right? So that's what he dreamed about. And eventually, the belly and thighs was the Macedonian Empire and the Roman Empire, and then, the feet in the clay. Now, when we go to Daniel 5:28, we see that it says, Perez, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. So Daniel tells them that your kingdom is going to be divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Right? So there you have it. And we can even go to Ezra 9:9. And we see, it says, for we were bondmen, yet our God hath not forsaken us in our bondage, but hath extended mercy unto us in the sight of the kings of Persia. Right? So there you have it. And I'm not sure if I showed this already, but in 2 Chronicles 36 and 22, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Cyrus, and now in the 1st year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord spoken by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom and put it also in writing, saying, thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth hath the Lord God of heaven given me. So we just read that Nebuchadnezzar's his kingdom was being divided and given to the Medes and Persians because they took it over, right? After Darius defeated them. We go to Daniel 5:28, right back to the verse, because I didn't say it. After it says, his kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians, right here in 29, then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet and put a chain of gold about his neck, and made a proclamation concerning him that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. And that night was Belshazzar, the king of Chaldeans, slain. And what happened? In 31, and Darius the Median, took the kingdom, being about 62 years old. So as I said, Medes, Persians took over, you can say Medes and Persians. They took over Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, and now it's in Median Persian control. There you have it. Now we read in 2 Chronicles 36:23, and in Ezra 9:9 that Cyrus allowed the Israelites to go back home into Israel to build the house or build the temples. As soon as they got back into Israel, that's when the Grecians came. The Greeks, they came and had them as slaves. And proof of this is in 1 Maccabees 8:18, which we're going to see right now. Look. And to entreat them that they would take the yoke from them, for they saw that the kingdom of the Grecians did oppress Israel with servitude. So after they came out of Greek captivity and back into the land of Israel, they rebuilt the temple again because the Greeks were sacrificing swine, pig, all on the altars. The Romans came and had them as slaves again. We're going to go into Luke 21:20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, which is Roman armies, that then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Okay, some Israelites were captured and enslaved by the Romans, while others fled to Africa. And I want to show you something. It's from Babylon to Timbuktu, page 84. It's a really good book that you should all read, including myself. Go down to page 84. Now, it says, in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. As we just read, the armies, right? The Roman armies. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews, which we all know to be dark-skinned people of the Bible, the Israelites, fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black and Jewish slaves. So there you have it right there. Under many captivities, right? First, it was under Egyptian captivity, then Assyrian captivity, then Babylonian captivities, then Persian Medo captivities, then Greek captivities, then Roman captivity. Now American captivity, waiting on our Messiah, Yahushua Hamashiach, to save us and kill these wicked people. Now, before we get any further, I want to show you some scriptures because it ties into what we're about to say, that, eventually leads to the Spanish Inquisition, and then therefore you read Genesis 3 and 14. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and thus shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. Now, this was a curse that Yahweh put on the Edomites. Okay, this led to Rome falling apart, which was owned by the Edomites at the time. Now, remember when I said that some of the Israelites were, captured and enslaved by the Romans? We're going to see what happens to those same Israelites now that the ancient Rome has fallen due to the curse put on the Edomites. Right? Let's read Dan 7 and 9. 7 and 19. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints being the Israelites, right? And prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. So we started ruling. We was ruling for 800 to almost 1,000 years. Now let's see what happened to the Edomites. This is what happened. Don't forget, when we was ruling, right, and we defeated them, we ran them up to the Caucasus Mountains, their second mountain home. Their first mountain home being Mount Seir. But let's read Job 30, 3 to 8. Chapter 30, verses 3 to 8. For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as if after a thief. To dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Among the bushes they brayed. Under the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. Now, there was a black plague, right? The black plague killed off many of the Israelites, right? And now we're going to go into Genesis 27 and 40. We're going to read here that Yahweh breaks off the chain off their neck, right? He says, okay, you can go back into rulership. Let's read. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So Esau, Edomite, taking off the yoke off their neck. So time-wise, around the 15th century is when they started, slowly coming back into power. And it fully came back into power around the 18th century. Now, let's go read Revelation 17 and 17. We're going to read here, For Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast. Right? We gave our kingdom unto the beast. This is for prophecy, until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. Right? And we're going to go to Revelation 13 and 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wandered after the beast. So he allowed the beast to be healed, to come back in the form of NATO, right? So now here we are, modern day world, right? And I want to show you a video, end this off with a video, in case, so people out there that don't believe that Jews were black or whatever. This video is going to show the same skulls that were found in Egypt that match us Negroes. Because some people think, I don't know what they think. Probably think a multitude of things, but let's watch this video.
The transatlantic slave trade started off with Spain and Portugal. And when we looked at the old books, we noticed that the brews in Spain and Portugal, less than 10 years before the start of the transatlantic slave trade, hundreds of thousands of these black, brown, swarthy, dark-skinned brews were being persecuted, were being enslaved, and most importantly, were being expelled and shipped to the west coast of Africa, to the exact same places where the transatlantic slave trade would start from less than 10 years before the start of the transatlantic slave trade. And so this was a major piece and revelation of our history. However, we didn't stop there, fam, because we like to have a diverse collection of evidence. So we also included cranial analysis, which is the study of skulls. And what we discovered was that these black, swarthy, very dark, very black, dark-skinned brews of Spain and Portugal, we discovered that their skulls were classified as dolichocephalic. Now, the importance of their skulls being classified as dolichocephalic is because the skulls of the so-called Negroes, you guessed it, is dolichocephalic, right? So our skulls match their skulls. And of course, family, we didn't stop there. We also took a look at monuments, depictions of the brews. And for me, one of the most important pictures of the brews has to do with the Lakesh relief, which can be found in the London Museum. So that's the Lakesh relief, which you can find the history of the Lakesh relief, or the story behind the Lakesh relief, in your Bible. And just to give you a quick summary, the Lakesh relief depicts an event that occurred when the king of Assyria, or King Sennacherib, comes down and makes war against the house of Judah, the territory of Judah. And as he's going through and he's conquering the different cities in Judah, one of the cities that he conquers is called Lakesh, the city of Lakesh, which is near Jerusalem. It's a neighboring city of Jerusalem. And keep in mind that the city of Lakesh is in the territory of the tribe of Judah. Hallelujah. And so as the king of Assyria is coming down to make war against the city of Lakesh, which is inside the tribe of Judah's territory, they actually conquer the city, and they actually, kill many of the brews. They take prisoners, and then when they go back to Assyria, they commemorate this great victory with a stone relief, or a stone picture, a stone monument. And within this monument, they depict themselves as laying siege to the city. They depict themselves as killing many of the brews. What you'll see here in a couple of the photos coming up, you'll see them impaling the brews. You'll see them throwing the brews over the sides of the walls. And you also see them taking the brews captives. And as you're looking at this screen on the bottom left-hand corner, that's a screenshot. We're looking at a screenshot of the Lakesh relief of the captives of the tribe of Judah, the captives of the city of Lakesh. And one of the most remarkable characteristics you can pick up right away in this picture is that their hair is nappy, woolly hair, right? Short, nappy, woolly hair, which is the total opposite of the brews today. This is one of the key reasons why we tell people that the brews of Judah are a black Negroid people. And it's obvious based off of the depiction in the Lakesh relief.
It's a picture showing the Israelites' skull being classified as dolichocephalic. I don't know. I don't really know how to say that, but I tried. And even this picture right here, right? Look at this picture. This is woolly hair. Only one type of people on earth have this type of hair. This is a perfect example of this man right here. Same hairstyle. Even some more proof I have, Well, because why not, Let's see. The Home Tutor, Treasury of Self-Culture, published in 1862. The Jews, as we shall have occasion to see, were originally undoubtedly a dark-skinned and woolly-haired race. Next, Early Modern World Geography, published in 1600. The people which anciently possessed this country were the Jews, being of middle stature, strong of body, of a black complexion, goggled-eyed, a subtile and ingenious people. Next, the Expositor, Volume 14, published in 1881. It reads, "The spoil of Lachish before him came. It is significant that the captives are, for the most part, represented as having woolly hair, as though they had belonged to the Ethiopian army of Tirhaka." We see again that they keep comparing the Israelites, the Jews, to Ethiopians, which always show that they had black skin, just like the Ethiopians today. The Africans, that black skin, right? But we're not the Africans, because according to Exodus 11 and 7, it says that Yahweh puts a difference between Ethiopians and the Israelites. So to end this off, so before I end this off, I want to get a little bit more information on the Jews expelled from Spain and Portugal. Basically, there was Jews who dwelt in Spain and Portugal for centuries. The Roman Catholic Church tried to convert them. Those that converted by name but not sincerity were known as the Marranos. Now, because of the Marranos, we have the Spanish Inquisition. After the Inquisition, Spain expelled the Jews in 1492. Many of them fled to Africa through Morocco, while the majority fled to Portugal. However, Portugal was already sending its Jews to an island off the coast of Africa, south of the slave coast of Judah, the same place where they ran their slave trade through. Now, the exiles from Spain were also sent to that land. Now, I'm going to show you the map where the slave coast of Judah is at, because it's not on the modern day map. They changed it up, they changed it up. Map right here. Well, first I'm going to show you the whole map, right? So this is a 17th century map. Zoom in, right? Got the Gold Coast, Slave Coast right there, right? Today, they call it Niger. Call it Niger today, but let's get a closer up, right? Wait a minute, there we go. Slave Coast or Whiter. I'm gonna get into that in a bit because I'm gonna tell you the meaning of that word, Whiter, right? But that's for later on. Even right here, Judah, and right here, KM on top says Kingdom of Judah, which shows that after they fled into Africa, we stayed there. We was there for many years until the transatlantic slave trade actually occurred. So we had our own place among the Hamites, among the Africans. Now, with all this being said, going back to Luke 21, when the Israelites flee from Roman persecution. As mentioned before, some Israelites fled into Africa, while some of them were still under Roman captivity. Don't forget, when we was ruling ancient Rome, we was also ruling Eurasia, because during the time of Alexander Macedon, this was when he was conquering all of the known world until Yahweh put the curse on them. And when we was ruling, guess what we ruled? The same shit they ruled, we took over, right? Eurasia, right? Ruled that, Rome, and everything until they came back into power, right? So now let's get back to the Inquisition, right? That's why you watch videos, you see that they was there for many years. The Jews was there for many years. The Jews are the saints are the Israelites, the one people, right? Dwelt there for many years. That's where we get the story from. And then they fled through Morocco and got to Africa, Niger, and to the coast where they started the slave trade through, right? There you have it. And back then, we know that on the 17th century map, it was called Negroland. And West Africa was called Niger. And now we have it. From here on out, from around this area, that's when the ships came and sold us off, with the help of the indigenous black Africans, which I'm going to get into that right now. So you could say that the Spanish Inquisition was the start of the fucking slave trade, but I want to get into a little bit into depth about what actually happened. Stay with me now, right? The Ashkenazi ship owners were very wealthy merchant slavers who had European origins and were Western Mongols that infiltrated Britain and mainly Portugal. They went down into the coast of Guinea and deployed Mohammedan trappers, Islamics, to go into the kingdom of Judah, which we just seen in Negro land, right? Within Negro land, and take the royal house of Judah captive in slave ships, just how it said in Deuteronomy 68. And they brought them over to America, brought them over to America, who then became known as African American. Now, a lot of you are not going to believe this, but Islam designed infernal slavery, with the Ashkenazi Jews being the one who marketed it. The Islamic slave traders and the Ashkenazi Jews worked together with the indigenous black Africans to enslave the regal house of Judah, which is the Negroes, right? The indigenous Africans wanted to get paid by Islam, and Islam wanted to get paid by the Ashkenazi ship merchants. The indigenous black Africans, they were selling a tribe, which was us, the house of Judah, that had encroached upon their land. There was a higher educated class that had judges, coppersmiths, goldsmiths, and so on and so forth. But they did not assimilate in. There's two different people. The Africans did not want them there. The Islamic masters and white Ashkenazi Khazar ship owners and merchants, alongside the British and Portuguese Ashkenazi, they were the main buyers and sellers. Now, before we move on, right? Remember in the early part of the video where we found out that Kedar means black. We put in the Easton's Bible Dictionary. Whether it's spelled Kedar or Qader, it comes back as dark-skinned. And right next to that term, it said the second son of Ishmael. Now, Islam comes from Isaac's son, Ishmael. Okay? So keep this in mind. Which would mean the original Ishmaelites were dark-skinned people. However, they were usurped by pale-skinned Indo-Europeans who took their culture and identity and conquered North Africa and the so-called Middle East. And there we have the trans-Saharan slave trade, which lasted from the 7th century to 1960, the 20th century. They deployed Islamic trappers to enslave and capture the Africans and the Jews and forced them to walk through the Saharan desert into the Islamic world. Millions of them also perished making their way, right? There was multiple routes. They had to accept Islam or be killed, the corn or the sword. It's been said in the book of Gandoki, who was an Arab Fula tribe, that they bragged about waging wars and conquering African lands from the north to the west to the east, and allowing those who accepted Islam to live, and those who did not accept would be killed. They castrated males as young as 6 to stop overpopulation uprisings. They were not allowed to procreate. They used the females as sex slaves. Now keep in mind, this was many years before the transatlantic slave trade that we all know. This was many years before that. And if it wasn't for them, the Europeans would not have had the idea to enslave us, which is what people nowadays say. I believe it was going to happen regardless because it's been written in the book. So that's that. On the map, right? Let's go back to the map. We see right there it says Whydah. Now, Whydah was a French word for Judah. They knew that the slaves weren't Africans, right? They knew they weren't Africans. Even the Latin Europeans knew this. I'm going to show you right here. When we had our land amongst the Africans, they had, right here, right? It says Ivdiorin. I'm not too sure how to say this word, but I'm going to try my best. Ivdiorivim Terra. Now, this is in Latin, right? You translate it onto Anglias, and it comes out to land of the Jews. So, proof right there that we had our own land amongst the Africans. Now, here we get into what Columbus did, right? Columbus damn Edomite, came to the Americas using the Apocrypha. He wanted to find the lost 10 tribes of Israel in the Americas, according to 2nd Esdras 13:41 to 46. Right? We're going to read that in a few. The original people of the Americas were the 10 tribes of Israel that came here from Assyrian captivity. A lot of people don't know that the Protestants removed those books in the 1800s. And Columbus bought a Hebrew interpreter named Louis de Torres alongside 4 other Hebrew interpreters. And Columbus believed that his ability to speak 12 languages will be helpful in communicating with the natives of Indies, whom he believed were the last tribes of Israel. Now, let's go into 2nd Esdras. These are the 10 tribes that were taken captive from their land in the days of King Hoshea, whom King Shalmaneser of the Assyrians took across the river as a captive. They were taken into another land, but they made this plan for themselves. They would leave the multitude of the nations and go into a more remote region. Right? Stay with me now, right? Where the human race had never lived. There, they would be able to observe their customs, which they hadn't kept in their own region. They went in through the narrow passages of the Euphrates River. Then the Most High Yahweh gave them signs and stopped the flow of the river until they had passed. They made a long journey through that region for 1.5 years, and that region is called Azarath. Right? So right there, we see that the 10 tribes of Israel, they went into the Americas, which Columbus identified America with Azarath. And that's the same place he went to find them. And more proof in the Americas, right? Look, these are pictures of the tribes that was in America. East Coast New York, black, right? Down south Mississippi, black everywhere. Midwest Wisconsin, West Coast California, Peru, Ohio, New York, Mexico. The original people of the Americas is all there. So for you idiots who keep saying, "Oh, Columbus discovered this," or I'm not even gonna call you idiots because this is just indoctrination, you know. But when you go and do research, this is what you find out. And if you don't believe the Bible to be real, you're never gonna find that shit out because you know it's right there written in the Bible, and you just don't want to read it. You know, you think it's fake, you think it's a white man's book, and all this other nonsense. But as I said to you right now, the lost 10 tribes went into the Americas. And Columbus used Apocrypha, which means hidden writings in Latin, if I'm not mistaken, hidden writings. He used that same book to find the lost 10 tribes, and then boom. That is the whole story of how the transatlantic slave trade came to be. You know, it's all there. It's all there. Look, black people, man, like. But, you know, biggest thing is slavery and captivity. That was one of the curses for our disobedience. We was not listening. We are stiff-necked people. And the only way to be saved from the nukes that will hit, right? I'm gonna leave you off with a clue, right? That proves my point, what I just said about the nukes hitting, right? It's even in the Bible. Well, no, it's not the Bible, not the Bible. After 7 days, I had a dream. During the night, I looked and saw wind rising from the sea and stirring up all its waves. As I watched, this made something like the figure of a man come up out of the heart of the sea, right? Who's that man? Yahushua, the Messiah. That's who he is. That man was flying above the clouds of heaven. Wherever he turned his gaze to look, everything that fell under his gaze trembled. Whenever an utterance came from his mouth, all who heard his voice melted as wax melts when it fills the fire, right? I kept watching these things, and an innumerable multitude of people came together from the four winds of heaven to fight against the man who had come up from the sea. I watched as he carved a great mountain for himself and flew onto it. I tried to see the regional place from which the mountain was carved, but I couldn't. Right? And this verse meant that he was watching as Yahushua was on the mountain being a chariot. Now, this is what we call UFOs and spaceships, called chariots, right? He saw a giant chariot, right? and he couldn't see where it was coming from because it's not of human power, it's celestial, right? Let's see. After this, let's keep reading. Verse 8. After this, I looked and I saw that all who had gathered to do battle against them were sorely afraid, yet they dared to fight. This is proof right here that these damn Edomites are going to try to fight against Yahushua, and Yahushua is going to destroy them. Let's read, right? Let's keep seeing. When he saw the rush of the multitude coming, he didn't raise his hand or hold a spear or any weapon of war. Rather, I saw something like a wave of fire shoot forth from his mouth, and a breath of flame from his lips, and a storm of sparks from his tongue. Right? Basically, he gives the command of the chariots, which the angels are controlling, the chariots, and shooting them damn laser beams, man. Fire is laser beams. Boom, right out. Destroying them, killing them, right? Let's keep reading. All these things, the wave of fire, the breath of flame, and a mighty storm mixed together and fell upon a crowd that was rushing forward, prepared to fight. So, what I just said, these damn Edomites are going to try to fight against Yahushua. He's going to destroy them. Let's keep reading. It burned them all up so that suddenly nothing was seen of the innumerable mob except the dust of ashes and the smell of smoke. I saw this and was amazed. Keep reading. After these things, I saw the same man coming down from the mountain and calling to himself another crowd, a peaceful one. Right? These are the people that's going to be saved. Only a remnant of them. Only 12,000 from each tribe of Israel. Many people came to him. Some were rejoicing, and some were sad. Some were even tied up, while some were bringing other people as an offering. I woke up in great fear and pleaded with the Most High. I said, from the beginning you showed your servant these wonders, and you consider me worthy that you should receive my prayer. Now show me also the interpretation of this dream. We're going to go to 16, right? As I turn it over in my mind, I think how terrible it will be for those who will be left in those days, and how much worse for those who aren't left. Those who aren't left will be full of sorrow, since they now know what lies in store for the last days, but they won't live to see them. But how terrible it will also be for those who are left. For that very reason, they will see great dangers, and there will be many kinds of distress as these dreams now. Yet it is better to encounter these things, even incurring danger, than to pass from the world like a cloud and not see what happens at the end. So, what's going to happen at the end? Edomites are going to try to fight against Yahushua. He's going to destroy them all. And he's saying that it's going to be like a scary sight to see. Because imagine, right? You go outside and you see chariots, right? Well, let's say we're in an American state of mind, right? People who don't know this truth. You don't go outside and see these damn spaceships and see people being beamed up into the UFOs, which means they're being saved. Well, they don't know that they're being saved, but they've seen people being beamed up into the UFOs and seeing the UFOs shoot laser beams at people, just blowing them up, disintegrate them, boom, gone, ashes, dust. So you're saying it's going to be a scary ass sight to see, but it's better to see them than not to know what happened in the last days, you know? Now we're going to see in verse 21 the interpretation of the dream. Now it says in verse 23, he who brings the danger at that time will himself guard those who fall into danger, who have works and faith in the most mighty one. So, if you follow the commandments, if you have the law, if you're following the law, and you're of Israel, all else, you're going to be saved. But if you're not of Israel, and if you are of Israel, but you're not keeping the commandments and the laws and the way of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, you're going to get killed. You're going to die. Let's keep reading. 24. Know, therefore, that those who are left enjoy greater privilege than those who have died. The interpretations of the vision are as follows. And that you saw a man going up from the heart of the sea. That is the one whom the Most High has been keeping from many ages. So Yahweh our God, right? He has a son, Yahushai. Yahweh himself is not going to come down and destroy us all and save the elect. His son is going to come down and do all that work. Right? So that is the same man that he saw going up from the heart of the sea. He will liberate, let's keep reading. He will liberate God's creation all by himself. So he's going to liberate Yahweh's creation all by himself. And he will put in order those who are left. Now, right, let's go to the ones who are going to be destroyed are the Edomites and the 2/3, according to Zechariah 13:8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them, and I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my God. 29. Look, the days are coming when the Most High, Yahweh, will begin to rescue those who are on the earth. Those who live on earth will go out of their minds. They will plan to wage war against each other, city against city, place against place, nation against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Doesn't that sound like today? What are they trying to do? They're going to war. Sooner or later, they're going to start drafting us to go fight against these other nations. Right? When these things, 32, when these things happen and the signs that I showed you before take place, then my son Yahushua will be revealed, whom you saw as a man rising up. Same man rising up out of the heart of the sea as Yahushua Hamashiach, right? Let's keep reading. When all the nations hear his voice, then each one will leave its own region and will leave off the wars they were waging against each other. An innumerable mob will be gathered together, as you saw, wanting to come and fight against them. So what did we just read? We just read that same mob that Yahushua destroyed with the laser beams, the spark, flames coming out his mouth, boom, 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 destroying them all. These are the same people who was fighting against the war, and they're going to stop, and they're going to turn their heads. They're going to see Yahushua with the chariots and say, yeah, we got to fight that guy. And don't forget, in an earlier verse, they were sorely afraid, but they still decided to fight. Fucking stupid. And they got killed, right? Let's keep reading. 35. But he will take his stand on the summit of Mount Zion. Zion will come and will appear to all, built and ready, as you saw, a mountain carved without hands. Right? That's the chariots. Yahushua himself will indict the assembled nations for the impious deeds. These things were indicated by the storm. He will scold them for their evil plans and reveal the torments with which they are about to be tortured. These things correspond to the flame. He will destroy them without effort by the law, which was indicated by the fire. So I'm going to go into depth about what I meant about the Yahushua coming back in the chariots to kill the wicked, the 2/3 and the wicked Edomites, just in case, we need some more clarification on this. And we do. I'm going to explain to you right now. Let's go to Daniel 12:2. Multitudes who sleep in the dust of the earth will awake, some to everlasting life, others to shame and everlasting contempt. So everybody who has died will come back to life. Some will live forever, and the other will, be to shame and everlasting contempt, Now, let's go to John 5:28 and 29 for more clarification. Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, in the which all that is in the graves shall hear his voice. As I said, they're going to come back to life under Yahushua. He's going to bring them back from the dead. Everybody, he's going to bring them back from the dead. 29, and shall come forth they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. So if you've done good as an Israelite, kept the way of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, followed the laws, kept the commandments, did his will, you're going to be good. But if you are Edomite or other nations other than Israel and you're wicked, even if you're an Israelite, but you're wicked, you are going to go into damnation. Now, let's go into 1 Thessalonians 4:15 through 17. It says, "For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of Yahweh, and the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first. Then we, which are alive and remain, shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord." So as I said before, if you were an Israelite and you were doing good, right? Doing good when he came and doing good before you died, and you was brought back, you're gonna be beamed up into the chariots, and you're gonna be given the spiritual powers. You're gonna be good under Yahweh. He's gonna do you good. You did him well. You follow his word. You follow Yahweh's word. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You did good. You're saved. But if you're a wicked Israelite and you're of the other nations, damnation you go. That's all it is. Now, let's go into what I mean by who's gonna be saved, right? Because 2/3 are gonna be cut off, but the rest will be, saved, beamed up in the chariots. Let's read Revelation 7:4. It states, "And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel." So let's go back to the photos I have, right? The 12 tribes: Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim, Manasseh, Simeon, Zebulun, Gad, Reuben, Asher, Issachar, and Naphtali. So 12,000 from each tribe, right, as listed here, will be saved. They will be saved. Only 12,000 though. 2/3 will be cut off and die. As we just seen in Zechariah. Even in all these verses right here, it mentioned the elect. The elect are the people who will be saved. They are the 12,000. Now to sum that all up, when Yahushua comes back, everybody's going to be brought back to life, whether good or evil. Then the elect, the people who's doing righteous, are going to be beamed up into chariots. And the ones who came back to life that are evil, they're going to be hit with them nukes. Which now makes sense when everybody talks about a second death, because if you have died and you come back to life, you already died that one time, right? And then when the nukes destroy you, you die a second time. The lake of fire, that is going to be America when the nukes hit. Fire everywhere. Now, we're going to go into the reason as to why he's doing this, even though we already know why. Now we're going to go into Job 21:7, right? "Wherefore do the wicked live, become old, are mighty in power." Who is that talking to? The Edomites that are in power, the other nations, Amalek, the Jewish people, small hats people, you feel me? They're in power right now. They get old, they still in power, running the world. Presidents, they running the world, it's right there in the world. "Their seed is established in their sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear. Nothing is the rod of Yahweh upon them. Therefore they say unto Yahweh, Depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. They spend their days in wealth, and in a moment go down to the grave. What is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit should we have if we pray unto him? Lo, their good is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How oft is the candle of the wicked put out? How oft cometh their destruction upon them? Yahweh distributeth sorrows in his anger." So there you have it right there. So these wicked people are basically telling they're rejecting Yahweh. They're rejecting him. They don't want to accept him at all. So let's go into more detail about who is the wicked exactly. Besides the Israelites that are going to be cut off right here. It says, the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was it not Esau, Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains in heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts. They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. So Yahweh Basham Yahushua is not like the Edomites. He does not like them. He hates them. Forever. Literally says it forever. The Lord have indignation forever. Right? Let's keep reading. Let's go to Psalms 15:17. Actually, Psalms 15:16. But unto the wicked Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant into thy mouth? Seeing thou hatest instruction, and castest my words behind thee. So, what did the wicked do? They hate his instruction. They don't follow his law. They cast his words away. Let's keep reading. Psalms 15:18. When thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him, and has been partaker with adulterers. Sounds like America, right? You know, what you doing? Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. Esau, Jacob, brothers, same mother. These things hast thou done, and I kept silent. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself, but I reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes. Now consider this, ye that forget Yahweh, lest I tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver. So that's a warning. He said you got to consider this, because I'm going to destroy you. Let's keep reading. Let's go to Isaiah 34:4. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and all the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. They also use the term arrows as, the missiles that's gonna eventually hit Babylon, which is America, right? And see, Psalm 7:12, if a person does not repent, Yahweh will sharpen his sword, and he will bend and string his bow. He will prepare his deadly weapons and shoot his flaming arrows. Even more proof, right? Talking about the nukes. You can search up Hailstorm, right? You go all the way to, let's see, Revelation 16 and 21. We'll actually start from 19. The great city of Babylon is split into 3 sections, and the cities of many nations fell into heaps of rubble. So Yahweh remembered all of Babylon's sins, and he made her drink the cup that was filled with the wine of his fierce wrath, and every island disappeared, and all the mountains were leveled. You want to know why? There was a terrible hailstorm. The nukes, man, and hailstorms, weighing as much as 75 pounds, fell from the sky onto the people below. They cursed Yahweh because of the terrible plague of the hailstorm. Now go to Revelation 6 and 13. It reads, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So them nukes, those are the stars of heaven, the bombs, they drop, right? As we all know, we're going to war soon. Now, what do the Edomites do? And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in dens and the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, Yahweh himself, right? And from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Tell me right there, the bombs drop, and they go into hiding. But you all know you still gonna die. You feel me? You still gonna die. Go to the next chapter, right? Revelation 7:1. And after these things I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, right? That the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. So the angels are holding back the nukes, right? They're holding them back until Yahweh gives the command, until Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai gives the command to, let them go. But first he has to gather the elect, as I mentioned previously, right? Even in Revelation 7:2. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, not hurt the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, until we have sealed the servants of our God in the foreheads. So until they gather the elect, which is literally the next verse, the 144,000, right? Let's see right here. 7:5, right? Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben, sealed 12,000. Tribe of Gad, 12,000. Tribe of Asher, 12,000. Tribe of Naphtali, 12,000. The tribe of Manasseh, 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon, 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi, 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar, 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun, 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph, 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin, 12,000. Even more proof, right, of the hailstorm. Revelation 11:18. The nations were filled with wrath. But now the time of your wrath has come. It is time to judge the dead and reward the servants, the prophets, as well as your holy people and all who hear your name. From the least to the greatest, it is time to destroy all who has caused destruction on the earth. Then in heaven, the temple of God was open, and the ark of his covenant could be seen inside the temple. Lightning flashed, thunder crashed and roared, and there was an earthquake and a terrible hailstorm. It's right there in the book, man. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea. Idumea is Edom, Edomites, upon the people of my curse to judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Let's keep reading. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. Isaiah 34:8. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, in the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. So everything I was doing to the Israelites are being paid back in full, right? Let's keep going. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. There you have it, man. Gonna be destroyed forever and ever. The land which they live, gone. Can't live there. Guess who's gonna build it right back after Yahushua destroys it? Yahushua and his elect. Yahushua and the chariots destroy it. Let's go to Isaiah 16:10. And the sons of strangers, which are the other nations, right, shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yeah, those nations will be utterly wasted. So he brings them back from dead. He's going to destroy them again. And the survivors are going to rebuild our place, right? They're going to serve under us. We're going to rule over them for forever. They're going to serve under us as slaves, right? And then Yahushua himself is going to wipe them away after 1,000 years. Let's read. After about 1,000 years, it says, Isaiah 40:2, speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem and cry unto her that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned, for she hath received of the Lord's hand double for all her sins. So we all know we was in captivity, slavery for about 400 years, 500 years, so times that by 2, double, 1,000 years they're gonna be with us, ruling 1,000 years. They're gonna be held captive by us, and then they're gonna be killed. They're gonna be wiped away. Go read Psalms 149 and 7. To execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people. To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. To execute upon them the judgment written, this honor have all his saints. So the saints that this verse is referring to are the Israelites, the elect that's going to be ruling over them. We're going to put chains on their neck. We're going to do them bad. Same they did to us, right? We're going to do them bad. Praise ye the Lord. Right? And now, well, for the people who think that, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to just sit back and like, okay, I'm going to forgive everybody. I'm going to forgive y'all for, holding these people in captivity. Let's read this, right? Jeremiah 32:19. Great in counsel and mighty in work, for thine eyes are open upon all the ways of the sons of men, to give every one according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. So, read it right there. Since you did bad, guess what's going to happen to you? Bad shit is going to happen to you as well. You did evil, evil shit is going to happen to you as well. It says right there, thine eyes are open upon all the ways of the sons of men. All the ways of the sons of men, to give everyone according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. So, I don't know what else to tell you, and to end it off, one of my favorite verses, Revelation 13:10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. That's self-explanatory. It's really self-explanatory right there, Nothing else I can say. And, we're going to rule over them. I'm going to end it off with these verses right here. Isaiah 14:1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, Israelites, yes, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. No, strangers are the people being our brethren, the same ones who were scattered abroad. Isaiah 14:2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And you can keep on reading, Revelation 2:26. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, which should be you Israelites, so you do not get destroyed, right? Keepeth my works unto the end. To him will I give power over the nations, So you have a chance to rule over everything. All you gotta do is keep the commandments, do his will, you know, keep his works. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my father. So they ain't gonna be able to do shit to us, you know, ruling over them with a rod of iron. Ain't do nothing. Psalms 2:8. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance. So these damn heathens, these damn wicked people, wicked nations, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is going to give them to us for our inheritance, ruling over them, as I've been saying, in the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. So we're ruling the whole earth, you know. We ruling the whole earth. It's just how it is, you know. Nothing else. And we already read that part, you know. Lastly, Obadiah 1:18. The people of Israel will be a raging fire in Edom, Idumea, Edomites, a field of dry stubble. The descendants of Joseph, who's an Israelite, right, will be a flame roaring across the field, devouring everything. There will be no survivors in Edom. I, the Lord, have spoken. Right, you go on to read Isaiah 34:8. For it is the day of the Lord's revenge, the year when Edom will be paid back for all it did to Israel. So, as mentioned before, he's coming back to take vengeance upon the other nations, especially Edom, for what they did against us. And, you know, that's all there is to it. The streams of Edom will be filled with burning pitch, and the ground will be covered in fire. All right? I think it's Obadiah 1:4. But even if you soar as high as eagles and build your nest among the stars, I will bring you crashing down, says the Lord. Now, we all know, soar as high as the eagles. What country represents the eagle? And they claim they went among the stars. They claim they went into the space, right? They claim they went up there. Who? Edom. Yahushua is going to bring them down. Self-explanatory. Esau, Edom, same thing, right? Esau, Edom, Edomite, Idumea, Caucasian. They're all the same people. They're all one person. Modern day Caucasians, right? Let's see the birth. Genesis 25:25. And it first came out all red. And it first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. And if you notice, quote unquote, white people's skin, when they're exposing high sunlight areas, when they're on the sun, they turn red. And they turn red because their blood shows through their pigmentation, right? Let's go on to Genesis 20:36. What else do we learn about them? These are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir, right? They live in mountains, cave people, which means their first mountain home was in Mount Seir, right? Let's search up Caucasian on etymology. Caucasian, I be forgetting how to spell the damn word. Long ass word, right? 1807, of or pertaining to the Caucasus Mountains. That's their second home, Caucasus Mountains. After Rome fell, they were forced up by the saints, the Israelites, into the Caucasus Mountains. Right? Now, perfect example right here. You may think this is Photoshop, but it is very much true. You can Google this picture right here, as I'm going to do so right now, in case you don't believe me. But look at this. Edomite kingdoms, they built the same. Mount Seir, which we just seen, right? This is how they built it. Now, look at Greece. Look at Spain. Look at Germany. Look at Russia, Great Britain, the United fucking States itself. right? Rome and France, they build the same. They build the same. That's all there is to it. They build the same infrastructure. You can always track people through the infrastructure, and they build the same way. That's all she wrote, man. Now we're gonna take this picture, right? We're gonna use it on Google, right? Video, right? This picture itself. Do we find out? Sunburn, right? This is their sunburn. With this funny caption: "We built the pyramids in Egypt." No damn way ain't building pyramids in Egypt. You know, look at this. Fucking rad as hell, man. This is a real picture. This is a real picture. 2025 Las Vegas 120th annual sunburn competition. Now I guarantee you, right? Put a black person out there. They gonna turn this color? No, they are not. These are the biblical Edomites. That's all there is to it, you know. Right, and even if you don't believe this picture to be real, because I clicked around and they're saying this photo is AI right here. It says this is an AI generated photo. However, some people in the comments disagree. You know, this is indeed real. Nice try, right? And someone saying it's fake, even if this is the AI, right? This is literally what they look like when they're out in the sun, which is why they put on the sunscreen. But it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you're biblical Edomites, you know. They're here. See this right here? See this right here? This is white. This right here, it's not white, it's red. That's all there is to it. Now let's look at this. A good example of Esau from biblical descriptors. Whatever. Right? Newborn baby. Very hairy arms. Red skin. Genesis 25 and 25. And the first one came out red and had hair all over like a hairy garment. And his name was called Esau. There's nothing you can tell me, man. Nothing you can tell me. Edom is going to pay for what they did, just according to the scriptures. And finally, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadash. Thank you to the elders at GMS South Carolina 08 for providing the scriptures and breaking the verses down. And shout out to my boy D Honey for doing the exact same thing, breaking the verses down and providing the scriptures. Thank you to all y'all. And finally, Shalom.